I've used Shiny apps to create website pages, so then they can be shared very easily with my colleagues and parents and students. In your work, if you do something that is very repetitive, then this can likely be done more efficiently using our code. And an app makes that code more accessible to everyone. It's also very useful for data analysis to gain insights into the vast amount of data produced now. I work as an educator, and our management system produces a vast amount of data, tests that we do on students, that students take, and I can track that data then, so you can see where there's been a dip, and you can put in place programs then to improve that student in that particular area, because you've seen that he's really struggling or she's really struggling in that area. I found the great visuals produced by ggplot in particular to clearly explain student progress to parents and students. I'd just like to go through now about using RStudio and some of the things that I've used in there and I found they're particularly useful. So the first thing we're going to do is open a new project. So we go into new project. Now I'm going to save the workspace that we've just been working on there, and I'm going to produce a new directory. Now I'm going to do a Shiny web application, or intend to eventually. So I'm going to call that bits and bobs and create project. And then I'm going to create it on my desktop. And we're going to open create project. I like to keep them on the desktop, then I can see how many I've actually got there. I prefer to see things that are physical rather than on a C drive or anything. It's the same thing. If you want to save it on your C drive, if you're more familiar with using C drive, then do so. So this is what's produced. Then if we actually run this app, then you'll see the sort of things that can be produced. Now this is a website. This is pretty standard one, Old Faithful. So if you move this, it loads a data set and it changes the histogram. So we want 19 is the number of columns here. So if we want it to be more columns, then push it up to 46, so the columns are narrower. This is quite a good explanation of what a Shiny app does. This is a very basic one. It's not that appealing. I do understand that, but these are the sort of things that you can change the visuals on, change the appearance of, to how you actually want it to look, which is quite exciting, really, to actually design something that you've done. So we just come out with that. Now, here you've got your app.r, and this is what runs the website. So you just load it up, as we've just done. You can actually publish that. I think you're allowed about 5 free ones. So when I've stopped using one, I delete it and I put one on that I'm actually using. So I've never actually paid for to keep an app on Shiny apps, which is quite good, really. So if we wanted to open a new file, we'd just unscript, as we've done before, as I've shown you before. Now you can write the code in here and run it, and it will produce some information here. One thing, so if I'm going into help again and put in speech marks mean, and then if we run that code, Control-Alt-P, and if I think, I've made a mistake, so if you want to go back, you do Control-Z, and that deletes what you've just done. Now, I found this very useful when I've been writing a list of code. I've got that code correct. It's run correctly. It's done what it's supposed to do. But then I've made some more adjustments to it to make it better. And they've made a mistake and something's wrong with that. So to go back to the previous version of what you've done, then you just keep pressing Control-Z, and then that will take you back step by step until you get back to the version that you know is correct, and then do it again. Then you can move forward, change your code, realise what you've done wrong the first time. When you've made some mistakes, you do get used to the clues that RStudio returns, because it tells you what's an error and what's a warning. The code will run still if it's just a warning. It's just, well, that's what it is. It's just a warning. So to keep you that you've done something, not necessarily to stop the code from running, but it's something you need to be aware of. If you actually get an error message, then the code hasn't run and it's not done what it's supposed to do. So if I ran this now, it would tell me some information down here. No documentation for this in a specified package or library. You could try question mark, question mark. So it's not an error, it's just something that is wrong with that code. You will get used to these error messages. And one thing I found is that if you Google the error message, if you just type in the error message into Google, then someone's had the error message before, and it gives you some clues about what is wrong with your code. Now, you only really get used to R coding by actually doing it. So there are some exercises at the end of these videos for you to go through and actually do some coding.